Welcome to Agenda Edina, a news program summarizing the actions taken in these chambers that affect you most. I'm your host, DOROTHEA MARTTI. Two Edina women made history last month as the first couple to sign the city's Domestic Partners Registry. The City Council established the registry in June to allow unmarried or same-sex couples in long-term committed relationships the opportunity to be recognized as domestic partners.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Joan Wallner and Kristen Peterson were the first to sign the registry at City Hall on June 23rd.
And everybody's been so supportive and so friendly about it. It's been wonderful. It's been a great experience.
The registry is similar to those in Minneapolis, Duluth, and St. Paul. Domestic partners will also be eligible for family memberships, registrations, or fees offered at city facilities or for city services.
We're excited, and today, when we've got the first couple that's going to be, completing their registration, it's just cause for a celebration. It just means it's a real big step for this community.
Any two unmarried adults in a committed relationship may apply for domestic partnership certificates in the office of the city clerk, as long as one of them lives or works in Edina. If a proposed bowling center opens in Edina, you may be able to throw down a cold one along with a bowling ball. In June, the City Council approved an amendment to Edina's liquor law, allowing the city to issue liquor licenses to bowling centers. This change came on the heels of a request from developers at Cypress Equities, who are working to place a Pinstripes bowling center at Centennial Lakes. Pinstripes is an Illinois-based company that operates restaurants with bowling alleys and bocce ball courts. The city code had not previously allowed bowling centers to hold liquor licenses. A bowling center will now be allowed a liquor license as long as no more than half of the facility contains bowling lanes or bocce ball courts, which must all be indoors. If you ask someone who served during World War II about their experience, chances are they won't say a whole lot. Most will tell you they merely did their duty. Recently, photojournalist Aaron Klein and I found a place where you can learn a great deal about Edina residents who served in World War II, as well as the countless citizens back home who supported the war effort. Folks who lived through the Great Depression and served during World War II are known as the greatest generation.
They all paid a price in that war, and they all suffered, and they all banded together.
Vince COCKRIEL comes from a long line of veterans. He's studied World War II and has furnished most of the collection you can see at the Edina History Museum's exhibit, Edina's Greatest Generation.
The reason I like displaying this stuff is because so many of these guys came and went, and never talked about, they never bragged about what they did.
Edina's Greatest Generation exhibit includes everything from the efforts on the home front to how troops lived while in the trenches.
This one, particular one, belonged to Elwood, affectionately known as Woody Brindle, and he was a glider pilot.
The exhibit is filled with artifacts, treasures, and stories from the people who lived through it.
He was in all three of the major airborne drops in World War II in Europe.
MARCI MATSON, director of the Historical Society, says the exhibit has been very popular.
The minute Vince put the first uniform up, I could not keep people out of this room because it's really their story.
One story is of Edina dentist Paul Carson. He moved to Edina in 1941 to build a home, and like so many others, put aside his plans and went to war.
When he came home, he was a paratrooper, but really operating mainly as a dentist from what I understand. But this is his parachute, and when he came home, his wife made curtains out of the material, and then the curtains hung in the house their whole married life. So more than 60 years.
Although World War II ended more than 50 years ago, the impact is clearly with us today.
It didn't happen to other people a long time ago. It happened to people who are alive today, and it really affected how Edina grew, what their values were, how they developed. A lot of organizations came out of that, let's be patriotic and do what we can for the world, and that has continued today.
Edina's Greatest Generation exhibit is open Thursdays from 9 a.m. to noon and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to noon at the Edina History Museum. Admission is free. Another type of exhibit is also open for public viewing in Edina. The annual outdoor art exhibit at the Edina Promenade now includes several pieces of new art. Located in the heart of the greater Southdale area near Centennial Lakes, the Promenade is a 70-foot wide greenway that connects a number of retail, residential, and recreational amenities. It was designed as an extension of Centennial Lakes Park and includes both pedestrian and bicycle pathways. The Edina Public Art Committee recruited artists from Minnesota and beyond before selecting pieces to display for 1 year. In addition, some favorite pieces from last year's exhibit have remained in place for another season.
And I think it's one of the things that our community is known for, is trying to enhance the quality of people's lives. And the Public Art Committee, I can't thank you enough for having these ideas, and we put this in place so that we could make everybody's life more terrific and more enjoyable.
The public is encouraged to vote for their favorite pieces of art. Ballots are available in brochure stands near the Promenade. A bird nest that has caught the attention of passing motorists for years will be taken down this fall to make way for roadway improvements. Edina 16's Brian Smith has the story.
Road construction is a way of life here in Minnesota. But losing your home to highway improvements is something no one wants to face. A family of Osprey, nesting high above Edina, may be losing just that this year. Minnesota Department of Transportation wants to replace a light pole at the intersection of Highway 169 and Highway 62.
They've been there 6 years already. It's been pretty cool. There's a lot of public interest with them, but now that tower's just become old enough that we need to remove it.
Since Osprey are protected by federal law, MnDOT is working with the DNR to make sure they are following federal law before removing the nest.
We need to pull a permit before we can touch that nest in any way at all.
Once we know and we will verify whether or not this nest is occupied, then we will go ahead and issue the permit.
Ray O'Connell, bird enthusiast, is leading the charge here in Edina by making sure that the Osprey's nests are being built so that these birds have a safe place to live.
We're just hopeful that next year they'll possibly, because of the absence of that one, they'll come to this box.
There are two man-made Osprey platforms here in Edina. One is filled by Osprey, the other sits empty. The empty platform is just an exit from the 169-62 intersection.
Their growth rate is dependent upon nesting habitat, and so that's why we choose to protect their unoccupied nests.
No one is sure if these birds will come back next year, but they will always have a home here in Edina. This is Brian Smith reporting, Edina 16.
The DNR says they must first make sure the Osprey have left the nest for the year before giving MnDOT a permit to take it down. Still to come, meet the newest member of the Edina Police Department. But first, the latest on the process to find a new city manager when we return.
Not all parks have a superhero on duty, so it's up to you to keep parks and trails smoke-free.
Do you guys think this is a lame fire?
It's kind of weak.
Come on, check this out.
God! Oh my God! It's on fire! Oh my God! Oh my God! Somebody call 911! Help, please! Oh my God! Help! Okay.
Welcome back to Agenda Edina. Edina will soon be saying farewell to City Manager Gordon Hughes, who is retiring the end of July after 36 years with the city. Edina 16's MARTTI Dahl recently sat down with Hughes to discuss his nearly 4-decade-long career in municipal government.
It began in 1974 with a simple ad in the local newspaper. Wanted environmental planning tech to work in the Edina Planning Department.
In the early 70s, the nation was going through much the same sort of an environmental awareness phase as it is right now.
Gordon Hughes, an environmental scientist fresh out of the University of Minnesota, never envisioned working in city government.
I had assumed that when I came out of school I would be much more interested in wildlife issues, water quality. This was a job that seemed to fit my skills and interests, but would have I thought that I would be in this job 36 years? Absolutely not.
Now, 36 years and several promotions later, Hughes is retiring as only the third city manager in Edina history.
It seemed that every time that I needed a new challenge, a new job came along with the city.
I don't know if he knows it to this day, but I was negative at the time.
Former Edina Mayor Jim Van Valkenburg, in office when Hughes was first hired, was skeptical of the new position.
I said, we don't need that. Why are you hiring somebody for that job? Of course, obviously it turned out I was wrong.
But it didn't take him long to recognize the value of Hughes' unique skill set. 3 short years later, in 1977, Hughes was promoted to city planner.
I really had to do a lot of on-the-job, training.
From 1977 to 1985, Hughes served as city planner and executive director of Edina's Housing Authority.
It was kind of that final development phase of Edina, and I was just very fortunate to be there at the same time.
In 1985, Hughes was promoted again, this time to assistant city manager.
He's a guy who would have been an enormous success at whatever he did.
Current Edina Mayor Jim HOVLAND was on the city council when Hughes was promoted a final time, in 1998 to city manager.
Got a lot of external advice that this might be the best hire that we ever made.
I think the thing I'm proudest of is our organization itself. I would like to think that's something that I had something to do with, and when you talk about achievements in the city, I think more on the people side.
With Aaron Klein, I'm MARTTI Dahl, Edina 16.
Hughes says he does not have any immediate post-retirement plans. He and his wife Judy, whom he met on the job in 1978, plan to enjoy the summer together working on their hobbies and spending time with their 3 adult children. The City Council is in the midst of its selection process for a new manager. Interviews of selected candidates are expected to begin this month. 29 people applied for the position. 16 are from the Twin Cities metropolitan area. Other candidates come from the states of Florida, Illinois, Louisiana, New Mexico, Texas, and Wisconsin. The largest single group of candidates, though not a majority, is made up of current city administrators or managers. PDI 9th House is leading the search and interview process. The Edina Police Department welcomed a new member to their force this past month, but he's not your typical officer. Edina 16's Kaylin Martin has more.
Edina's newest police officer took to the streets in June on all fours.
Atta boy. Sociability, trainability, all that kind of stuff is what makes him a good dog, a good police dog. So.
From the Edina Police Department, we have Officer Jason Bear.
After graduating from St. Paul's renowned K-9 training program, Police K-9 Blade and his handler, Jason Bear, began work.
Good boy, buddy. There's definitely a relief to it. It's 12 weeks, and it's probably the most demanding police training I've ever been involved in.
Blade is a 2-year-old German Shepherd born from a long bloodline of Slovakian police dogs. He was bred to have high drive and other natural tendencies.
These dogs, believe it or not, would not make very good pets because of those behaviors. They need to be active, they need to be working. They go, go, go.
During the program for new canines and handlers, the dogs are schooled in agility, obedience, tracking, criminal apprehension, and handler protection.
It's more condition the handler, figuring out how the dogs work, how they play, and that kind of thing. So it is definitely, the 12 weeks is more for the handler than it is for the dog.
All Edina police canines have been purchased through community donations. Police canines typically cost around $8,000 and, depending on their health, have a working life of 5 to 7 years.
Atta boy. Community support is number one. We couldn't have the canine program without the community support.
With Steve Christensen, I'm Kaylin Martin, Edina 16.
Jason and Blade join Mike Seeger and Diesel in Edina's police canine program. It may only be July, but the Edina's Braemar Arena is already thinking about the winter skating season. Construction began in May on a new mechanical system in the West Arena, and a new hybrid dehumidification system in the East Arena is already humming. Braemar Arena's West Arena was built in 1965 and was still operating its original mechanical ice rink floor and heating and cooling systems. The city decided to move forward with renovation of the 45-year-old system before a failure could occur, likely resulting in a sudden loss of indoor ice for the entire winter skating season.
Oh, the word's out there that it's been under construction, so everyone's kind of curious. They keep wanting to sneak their head in there and see what's going on, but right now it's pretty boring. There's not much to see, but I think the end result will be very positive and people will be happy at the rink. It'll be nice, really nice.
Contractors are about halfway through frost removal in the West Arena. About 18 feet of frost needs to be removed. Construction of new pad for the dehumidifier in that area was also in the works. Construction is scheduled to be complete in October. Before we go, we want to highlight some of the many upcoming events in our community. The Farmers Market at Centennial Lakes Park begins July 1st and will be held from 3 to 7 p.m. every Thursday throughout the summer. The Independence Day Parade will be held at 10 a.m. July 3rd, beginning behind Edina City Hall on Eden Avenue and traveling down West 50th Street to downtown Edina. Platinum sponsors of the parade are Lund's and Byerly's. Fairview Southdale Hospital will present fireworks at Roslyn Park at dusk July 4th, following an 8:45 p.m. concert of the First John Philip Sousa Memorial Band in Roslyn Park. The Edina Arts Center will host an open house from 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. July 4th. In observance of the holiday, Edina City Hall will be closed Monday, July 5th. And everyone in the community is invited to a reception in honor of outgoing city manager Gordon Hughes. The reception will be held from 5 to 8 p.m. Monday, July 26th at Centennial Lakes Park. The cost to attend is $10 per person. Reservations are required and can be made by calling 952-927-8861. I look forward to celebrating our nation's independence with you this month. Thanks for watching this month's episode of Agenda Edina. I'm your host, Dorothea MARTTI.